proper presentation, introduction. So I'm just going to invite you up, Shadi, to do a presentation on WooCommerce.
Sounds good. Try this thing. Perfect. All right. So my name is Shadi Manna. I've been here 6 years. Currently working on a web development agency with WordPress, primarily using WordPress and SEO as well. So I've been using a lot of WooCommerce lately for clients who want to do e-commerce websites. So I'm just giving a brief introduction. Has anyone used WooCommerce or played around with it? I think you said you have. No one else? You're interested in it, or you?
That's why I'm here.
Okay, great. Michael's used it, of course. So basically, the agenda is going to be: what is WooCommerce? Why choose WooCommerce as opposed to other e-commerce platforms? Then we'll sort of delve into the product types that WooCommerce has, payment options, shipping options you can get with it, and you can extend using plugins. So I'll go over a bit of WordPress plugins and WooCommerce plugins. And that's pretty much it. Here you can see WooCommerce's logos. They have little ninjas everywhere. It's kind of cute. They have a pretty nice design. But they do themes, and their main plugin is WooCommerce for e-commerce. Actually, this year I think they're having their first event in San Francisco as well, which is kind of cool. They're getting very big, so we'll talk about that. Yeah. So what is WooCommerce? It's a fully fledged e-commerce solution. It's a shopping cart. You have different product types. You have payment options. You have shipping options, and you have inventory management if you want it. You don't have to use it, but you can use it. It has VAT and tax setup, all the emails and notifications, different statuses of orders and products. There's a lot of information within e-commerce that needs to be set up that is all taken care of by WooCommerce. So you don't obviously have to program it or do it yourself. WooCommerce, like most things in WordPress, is a plugin, really. You just go to your plugins menu, search for WooCommerce, install it, and you have an e-commerce shop. It gets more complicated because you have to set it up, but that's really what it is. It's just a plugin. A very large plugin. WooCommerce,
Hey.
hello?
Sorry I'm late.
No worries, come in.
Hello.
WooCommerce follows the sort of freemium model of WordPress. Basically, you get the plugin for free, and it includes a lot of free out-of-the-box tools, but you add things through more plugins that extend its functionality. And you pay for those plugins through WooThemes, which is the company that created WooCommerce. And those get a bit expensive, but it's worth it, to be honest. You can just have your own WooCommerce shop within 5 minutes, and it's fully functional. And again, if you want to customize, you want different shipping options, payment options, you have to pay for that, which is, I think, a fair model to have. What's really cool about WooCommerce is it integrates seamlessly into WordPress. And what that means is it utilizes the WordPress framework and database. It doesn't create its own tables. It utilizes WordPress tables, which is really cool because there's a lot of functionality WordPress gives you. So they just piggyback on top of that, which allows it to be extendable and allows other people to create more plugins, etc., etc. And that's what's really allowed WooCommerce, in my opinion, to differentiate itself. It has a lot of functionality, but it utilizes WordPress functionality. And so it becomes building blocks on top of each other. So why WooCommerce as opposed to other e-commerce platforms? As you can see to the right here, this is beginning of this year. WooCommerce was already the leading e-commerce platform compared to all other e-commerce platforms. Magento, WordPress e-commerce, which used to be the leading one, Zencart, OpenCart. I don't know if you've heard of any of these guys, but it's pretty much leading the pack now. I mean, it's doing an amazing job. And right now they power 18% of all e-commerce websites, which is huge. It's 400,000 websites. So it's a big amount. And on top of that, they have a 4.1 user satisfaction level. I mean, you're using it and people are happy using it. It's obvious how to use it. It's not overly complicated. If you've ever used Magento, which I don't recommend, it's a nightmare. It's just like categories and trees and 3 levels and where do you put the product and 1,001 options just to get a simple product up. Here it's just like simple product. You check it, you add it, and it's there. It's very simple. And on top of that, there's lots and lots of plugins, free and premium plugins that can extend the functionality into anything you want. You know, you want unique products, you can create any product you want. You want unique shipping options, you can add that. It's all open source, it's all free. Some are premium, but they're worth it. $20, it saves you hours of work. It's really worth it. And obviously, as I mentioned, it has rich out-of-the-box functionality, which we'll go through some of it. Basically, what else? WooCommerce has become such a force that now most themes support WooCommerce functionality. Basically, within any theme, it'll say this is WooCommerce compatible, meaning they've taken consideration that you might use WooCommerce. They'll lay out the pages nicely for you. They'll set up the cart nicely for you. This is very important. Just like WPML for translating in WordPress, WooCommerce has become sort of the standard for e-commerce on WordPress. And that's good for everyone because the themes will be compatible. And so you can use different themes. So that's why you should use WooCommerce. So we'll go in a bit to how to set up WooCommerce. I won't go too much, but again, feel free to ask questions. If the questions go outside of the scope, we can talk about it afterwards.
Could you just do one thing? Since
Absolutely.
I didn't introduce you very well. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do professionally?
Sure. All right. Before we get into the WooCommerce, I currently I'm the founder of a web development agency that does primarily WordPress development, plugin development, and WooCommerce development. My background is software engineering. I also have a marketing MBA background. Did some startup work, and now specifically working in this field. More or less. I mean, other than that, there's just other geographical elements which I can throw in if you guys want, but that's not as interesting, I think, as WooCommerce. But anyway, I'm happy to talk to you guys afterwards more if you have questions. In terms of product types, as I mentioned, the most simple product type, simple product. What is a simple product? It's a fixed product with no options, just like this camera. I wanted to sell this camera, just put it online, put its description, give it a price, you're done. You can sell it. So you see here you have the SKU number, which you can utilize or not. All you really need is the price. You can put a sales price if you want to give it a discount and schedule that or not. That's up to you. And you're pretty much set. That's all you have to do to set up a product. There's really not much more to it. You can obviously select if it's virtual, meaning if I want to sell PDFs that I'm going to give you instruction on how to use WooCommerce, you can do that. And it's virtual. And then there's no shipping option because it's virtual. And then that's removed. And then it could be downloadable or not downloadable. So I send people a link to download then the PDF if you want or don't want that. So it's very, very, very simple to set up a product. So you get on top of this the post information. So you put the description, you put the name, you put all this information which you're used to using with a post, a normal post. Basically a product in WordPress terms is a post. It's just in the database a post plus a few extra things. And that's what makes it so easy to use. The other product, these are the most used product types, a simple product and a variable product. And I'm just basically going to go over those two. A product, variable product type is basically a product with options. So I want to sell the camera, but I have it in black, in white, and in gray. And it has different memory options, okay? I don't know, like it comes with a 16 gig or 32 gig or whatever. The point is, you want different variations for the same product, just a few little things. You would set up a variable product, which means it has options. And there, you can create a combination of any of those attributes, which in each one would be a simple product on its own, but together, let's say black and 32 gig is a simple product, but then you want to create all those combination with a drop-down under one page, one product page. But what's nice here is you can customize each image for each selection. So if I click a white camera, it'll show me a white camera as an image, which is kind of cool. You don't want to show the black camera if you're selling, if you just selected a white camera. So there's a lot of customization you can do for each combination of attributes. Then you can change the price per attribute, and you can make it downloadable if that even makes sense. One's downloadable, one's not downloadable as an option. But you can do these combinations and customize them a lot. And this is kind of cool because it gives you a lot of flexibility to set up your product however you want. Now it gets more complicated. I'm not going to go into detail with all this. Yes?
Can you use the variable for virtual products also?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And again, you can customize the specific combination, or you can say, I want all of them to be virtual, or I want only this combination to be virtual.
You can mix it up, right?
Exactly. You can mix it up.
With variable,
Yeah, which is kind of cool. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can do that,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. There's more product types. I've used bundle, which is kind of cool. It's like a set. Like I have a bar set, which includes stools, which you can sell by yourself, or you can sell as a set. It includes a table, which you can sell by itself or part of the kit. And within the kit itself, you can give it its own price. So the kit is 20% less than the combination of all the products individually. So that's what a group product would be, for example. And it's, a product bundle, which is really nice. And I've done that for a few clients where they sell it individually, but they sell it as a combination and they get discounts, and that's really nice. So here there's chain products as well. Like you buy a camera and, I don't know, something else, and the stand, and you get a free flash drive with it. So you can create that with chain products. And so on and so forth. There's group products, which allow you to show different products in the same page with little differences, so you can add them all into your cart once together. And composite I haven't used, but that sounds like the most complicated one. But it's more just so you know that there's a lot of options. And for example, these are paid. If you wanted product bundles, it doesn't come with WooCommerce. You would have to pay like $80 as a plugin. You install it, then you see the drop-down option in addition to simple product and the other ones which come with it. So that's a good example of how you would use a plugin, and the freemium option works here.
What does forced sales mean?
Forced sale, basically you're required to buy a product with another product.
Oh, I see.
I haven't used it, but it sounds like, if there's dependencies. And a lot of these are basically like dependencies of products. Any questions on that? Cool. So you have your product set up. Now you need some way to get money for those products. So payment options. The ones that are already integrated are PayPal, bank transfer, check, and cash on delivery. You don't get credit card because that's more complicated. But if you use PayPal, people can pay through credit card. So inadvertently, you do get credit card if you use PayPal. And it's really simple. All you have to do is set up your PayPal account and use the email down there, PayPal email, and you're good to go. You can start selling. It's really, really easy. There's not much more to it.
What about the SSL?
You don't need SSL unless you're taking credit card information on your site. With PayPal, you're redirected to PayPal, and there they have SSL.
So you can just do the entire thing through PayPal.
Absolutely.
Now you have to set up.
And with other payment providers, you decide whether you want the user to stay on your site or to be moved to the third-party site.
Is there any support to show which is better? I mean,
There's probably evidence to show that it's better that they stay on your site and you look more trustworthy, and bigger as a company. Like, why are you redirecting me to another company? You should be the company taking my information because I trust you. So it is better to have them on your site. However, people I think do accept PayPal. For example, they know that they're going to another site, and PayPal is a trusted source, so they're okay with that. But there are certain payment gateways that people aren't familiar with, and you just redirected them some payment gateway they don't know, and they're putting their information, they might be hesitant. If you do want to set up credit card on your own site, you would need SSL. So something like Stripe requires you to have SSL. So there are plugins, and you do have to set up SSL either through your host or yourself. And then once you have SSL, you can then transact directly with a third-party provider without being redirected. I can go into detail more if you want afterwards, but that's a good point. you have a
No.
question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So authorized.net, for example, has an option which is both. You can go to third party to their site, and they have SSL. But if you have SSL, you can transact directly through your site because that information needs to be encrypted and sent over, so no one can, even if they take the information, they don't know how to decrypt it and use that against it. Is that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
got it.
There you go. So that's basically it. So for credit card, you would need a plugin, again, which you'd have to pay for, and then a third-party account with a credit card payment service provider, PSP. And then you enter that information into the plugin, and it does all the work for you pretty much. Also very simple, once you have the account with the PSP provider. Okay. Shipping options. There are many more shipping options here than payment options. You have flat rate shipping, which is basically I will charge $5 per t-shirt sent per item or per whole order or per class. So what is a class? You can associate products with shipping classes. So if I sell hard disks and one weighs a kilo and the flash drive weighs nothing, it doesn't make sense to give a flat rate for both. So I can categorize them in classes where one is heavier items and not as heavy items, and each product is associated with that shipping class, and that shipping class then has a flat rate. Is that clear? So that just is another option you have as opposed to doing per item, because items can be different weights. So you don't want to just do an item. You want to do a class item. And then order is the whole order if I want just a flat rate on the whole order. Then you have free shipping. Let's say if you purchase $30 plus, you get free shipping, which is kind of nice. International delivery. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just the way you set it up. This one's labeled as international. And then you have local delivery, which is, let's say, in Barcelona, it's local delivery. Everywhere in Spain, you can call it whatever you want. But you can set these up as different options. And depending on the country, they will get different options. And they'll see the different options. You can get more complex, and shipping can get more complex depending on the country, depending on the weight, depending on a lot of different things. You can set that up by yourself, but you need plugins for that. Or you could simply use like a courier, like FedEx. Create an account with FedEx, link that account with your WooCommerce website, and they do all the work. You just send them the information through their APIs, which is all done in the background. You get the information back, and there's a good example of where you just get all these FedEx options, different prices depending on what you want. But that's all done in the background. You don't really have to do anything. You just check which ones you want the user to see. You can add obviously a margin on top of that as well. I want all these shipping options, plus I want to take 20% from customers, just because I'm the one giving them the service, and you can do that with no problem. And obviously, if you want, finally, you can add shipping and handling. You can do handling. I take flat $10 fee for anything I ship, no matter what. So you can add a lot of different options here. It gives you the flexibility to be simple, of flat, or complex, of priorities per product, per country, per even down to the postal code if you want. But you have that flexibility, and it's relatively easy to set up. So that is the shipping options. Obviously you need, if it's a physical product, shipping, payment, products, and you're pretty much good to go. There's really not that much more that you would need to start an e-commerce website. And that's all out of the box in many cases. But as we've mentioned many times, there are lots of plugins which help and allow you to be flexible. So, of course, WooCommerce is open source like WordPress, and anyone can create a plugin, and there are many plugins that have been developed. Myself and my partner under the website Codeman have 2 WooCommerce specific plugins we're working on, or which we have released, and we're releasing another SEO specific one. You can find on WooCommerce itself their plugins for WooCommerce. They have 317 extensions, they call them right now, but that includes payment options, shipping options, different types of product options, anything you can think of. It's probably on the WooCommerce WooThemes site. And Code Canyon is the other resource which I recommend, which is where our plugins are, they have 444 plugins, which you can download from under their category WordPress e-commerce, WooCommerce. It's by far the largest plugin repo. I mean, WooCommerce compared to the other WP e-commerce sites, which have 50, I think, plugins. WooCommerce is by far leading in terms of plugins, which shows you how powerful of a community and how large it's become. And so, anything you can think of in terms of plugins, you can probably find on those two websites. And if not, let us know. We can develop it for you. But that's pretty much it in terms of plugins, resources, and WooCommerce. If there are questions,
I have a question.
yes.
One thing that I like about Magento and some of the, like when you order a pair of shoes, you can zoom in on the detail of the shoe and the buckle.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that. Is there a plugin that does that?
There is. I have seen that on a WooCommerce plugin. I don't recall the name of it, but I have seen that. I don't know if it was specific to the theme or not, if it was like a built-in specific for the theme, but it does exist. It does exist. We can try to find, if you want, somewhere where it is, but I'm pretty sure it exists. And if it hasn't been built, it can be built because it's open source. It's anything in Magento you can theoretically build in WordPress. So, anything else?
So are all of these plugins open source?
Everything is plugins. Everything is open source on WordPress and WooCommerce, and Magento, Drupal, I believe as well. They're all open source. So yeah, once you get it, you can do what you want with the plugin. I've hacked a lot of plugins and modified them to function differently for people because that's the way they want them to function, and you have that ability, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Then you kind of lose updates.
You do lose updates. With themes, you can use child themes, so you would not lose the update because it just
important.
very important. With plugins, there's no mechanism right now that I know to do that other than keeping track of the changes and sort of going backwards and then copying over. You'd probably need a developer to do the plugin one.
Para gestionar clientes,
Para gestionar,
clientes,
sí.
¿qué plugin tiene mejor WooCommerce? Un CRM dentro.
No entiendo la pregunta.
Customer Relationships Management.
Ah, CRM.
Plugin to WooCommerce.
WooCommerce already comes with basically it tracks all your orders. You have a whole area where you can look at all your orders, all the details of the orders, and any user that is a client will be labeled as a client under the users of WordPress. So they utilize the users system of WordPress and simply label them as customers. So that's sort of a CRM. It's not an amazing, huge CRM with all this information of touch points per channel in marketing, but I guarantee it's possible to do that as well. It's a mini CRM, but you have all the user information all in your system. Yeah. Any more? Well, thank you for listening. And if you have more questions, let me know.